Yo guys, what's going on? Curious Brit back again, and today we're reacting to a video called Why Isn't the Netherlands is So Rich? How it became the world's second largest exporter of food, and it's by a channel called Economic Nation. I'll leave a link to the channel down below in the description. So without further ado, let's jump into this one.
This small country in Northern Europe is home to just over 17 million people. A good part of the territory is below sea level, which is why it is famous for its engineering works to face the challenges of constant flooding. It is also famous for being one of the most stable and wealthy countries in the world. By 2017, according to the World Bank, it had a GDP per capita of $48,000 higher than countries like Australia, Canada, or the United Kingdom. The questions addressed in the video are: what reasons explain the wealth of the Netherlands? How did the discovery of a natural gas field almost ruin the Dutch economic miracle? And how did such a small country become the world's second largest food exporter? One of the reasons that help explain the wealth of the Netherlands is trade. Its main port, the port of Rotterdam, is the largest in Europe, ranking 10th among the world's busiest ports in 2019, above even the port of Los Angeles in the United States. The Port of Rotterdam plays a very important role in the export and import of goods and raw materials, not only in the Netherlands, but also in Europe. In fact, it is often referred to as the largest German port because of its vital importance to the German economy, since most of the raw materials for German industry arrive through the Port of Rotterdam. But the importance of trade and the fact that it has the most important port in Europe is not new to the Netherlands. The Dutch have made international trade their main ally for centuries. Since the 17th century, the Dutch shipbuilding industry developed rapidly. The availability of windmills, a cheap source of energy, was present in almost every province. And the invention of the wind-powered sawmill made it possible to quickly process wood that was used to make ships. This enabled the port of Amsterdam to become the hub of European trade and to create the Dutch East India Company in 1602, which was considered the largest company in history. It was something like the first multinational with 150 trading ships, 50,000 employees, an army of 10,000 men, and 40 warships. It was like another state within the Netherlands. It had monopoly privileges and was sometimes granted colonizing functions on other continents. But the most important achievement of the Netherlands was that the Dutch East India Company obtained a monopoly on trade with Japan, and in turn, through Japan, managed to trade indirectly with China. And that was significant because these Asian countries traditionally distrusted the intentions of Western traders. So, for many years, this Dutch company was the only entrance to the Western world to Japan, which gives the Netherlands exclusivity to trade exotic goods from Asia throughout Europe. Therefore, from that time on, the north of what would become today the Netherlands would become one of the main intermediaries in international trade. In general, the Republican government of that time was in favor of free trade and the autonomy of each of the 7 provinces that were part of the country. It was also tolerant of the establishment of immigrants who were discriminated against in other parts of Europe, such as Jewish merchants and French Protestants. Bankers from northern Italy also arrived. All these educated immigrants contributed to making Amsterdam the world's financial and commercial center of the 17th century. In fact, the world's first stock exchange was established in Amsterdam. And that financial development also explains the current level of wealth in the Netherlands. The residents of that country were famous for their handling of finance and commercial credit. They created products and mechanisms for more and more people to access stock market investment. This attracted investors from all over Europe, so capital was abundant and, as a consequence of the abundant capital, interest rates were lower than in other parts of Europe. But this is not a thing of the past. Today, the Netherlands remains an excellent destination for investors and companies seeking stability and relatively low taxes. This is why Amsterdam made headlines in early 2021 when the United Kingdom left the European Union, as the Amsterdam Stock Exchange overtook the London Stock Exchange as the largest stock trading center in Europe. However, this friendliness to investment and private initiative not only benefits foreign capital as claimed by those who consider the Netherlands as a simple tax haven. In one way or another, this environment stimulates the Dutch entrepreneurial spirit. According to the 2019 Global Entrepreneurship Index, the Netherlands ranked 8th with the best score among 137 countries evaluated. In short, free trade, respect for the cult diversity of immigrants, and having created the first stock exchange, has attracted traders, investors, and entrepreneurs for centuries. In addition, its privileged location in the center of Europe and having wealthy neighbors such as Germany, Belgium, the United Kingdom, and Denmark are reasons that may partly explain why this country is so rich and enjoys the best quality of life indicators. However, as in all countries, the Dutch economy went through a difficult period. In the 1970s, the Netherlands discovered large deposits of natural gas in the North Sea. This, on the one hand, reduced external dependence on energy sources. But on the other hand, this sudden increase in wealth turned out to be a curse because it contributed to an unsustainable expansion of the welfare state.
Paris, Rome, New York. TUI city break sorted.
Public spending
So yeah, it's one of them things, isn't it? When the government get a lot of money, it's
increased from
what
40% of GDP in 1973 to 58% in 1983. It was invested in generous social programs that encouraged healthy people to leave their jobs to rely on state benefits. Unemployment rose from 5% to over 17% in a few years, and economic growth was virtually zero despite natural gas revenues. Consensus on an urgent change in economic policy direction was reached in the early 1980s with an agreement between labor unions and employers. Wage increases and social benefits were moderated to stimulate labor participation and job creation. Public spending was also reduced, and indeed, the unemployment rate had fallen by the end of the 1980s to levels of 5%. The idea had begun to spread that the creation of private jobs was the best social policy. The unemployment rate would rise again to 7% in 2014, but in 2020, in the middle of a global recession, it was only 3.8%, one of the lowest among all OECD countries. Sometimes, due to the success of the employment generation policies, the Dutch case has been considered one of the employment miracles, along with other countries such as Switzerland, Australia, and Ireland. But if there is a miracle in this country, it is that it is the second largest exporter of food in the world with such a small territory. The climate, fertile soil, and flat land make the Netherlands a perfect place for agriculture. Crops grow relatively easily, but perhaps the most important feature of Dutch agriculture is the use of technology and mechanization of processes. They use robots and machines for almost everything. Their skilled labor force also plays an important role in this field. Wageningen University is the best agricultural education institute in the world. It has numerous research facilities where they are constantly looking for more efficient ways of farming. So, it is not surprising that much of the agricultural production is done behind closed doors in huge, state-of-the-art greenhouses. So, innovation, geographical conditions, and skilled labor explain part of the Dutch export success. However, there is another reason. About 60% of the products that enter the Netherlands leave the country within a short time in the form of re-exports. This is known as the Rotterdam effect, referring to the Dutch port mentioned at the beginning. For some countries, it is faster and cheaper to import through the Dutch port. In 2015, less than half of the exports corresponded to domestic exports. The rest were re-exports, that is, products coming from other countries that only made transit in the port, but statistically are considered as exports from the Netherlands. In short, this Rotterdam effect boosts the numbers of food exports from this European country. However, this doesn't diminish the fact that it is one of the most innovative, free, and prosperous countries in the world. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video.
Well, yeah, so as I was saying there, it makes more sense now at the end that it's due to the re-exportation of all the goods that they're getting from Asia and everywhere. It's not through the exportation of the goods they produce themselves as well, because I didn't think there was much to produce other than like farming goods, so like fruit and vegetables and stuff like that, and your meat and that. But anyway, if you've liked that video and you've liked that topic, don't forget to smash that thumbs up. It shows me that you like the video and you appreciate the channel. Don't forget to hit subscribe down below if you've not already. Until next time, take care, stay safe. I've been the Curious Brit. Peace out.